Can I help you? Take your hand off me. Hi, my name is Scott Rogers. I'm an expert in kyusho jitsu pressure point fighting. The topic of today's program is going to be kicking pressure points. So what we're going to learn is what part of the foot to use to actually strike and what spots on the body are vulnerable to pressure point strikes using kicking. We're also going to show a few examples, self-defense examples of how you would combine these points together. Learning to kick pressure points is a much higher skill than learning to use your hands, just for the fact that it's a lot harder to kick than it is to use hand strikes. So your balance, your speed, and your timing are going to have to be that much better. For self-defense situations, 99% of the time we're going to kick below the waist, but we're going to show you some pressure points above the waist and even some head strikes that you can use using the legs. We're also going to cover some striking that we can use in the ground grappling game, using our legs from the guard position, from the cross-side position, and show you different spots that you can strike. I hope you enjoy this program. All right, before we get to the pressure points, we're going to get started by showing you the different kicks and striking areas we're going to be using to actually hit these points. First kick will be the front kick. The front kick can be done in two ways. We can be using the ball of the foot or the tip of the toes. Which one you use will be dependent upon how soft your target is and whether you're wearing shoes or not. So with the ball of the foot, basic front kick, extend and back. If we were to use the toes, it would be the same thing, just the toes would go in. Obviously, again, a harder target area would require the ball of the foot. Softer target area would require the toes. Similar to the front kick would be the roundhouse kick. Roundhouse kick also has two striking points, the toes, the ball of the foot. As I throw the roundhouse kick around with the ball, I come across. If I had a softer target or if I was wearing hard shoes, I would stick the toes in the same way. The advantage of using the toes is it's a much more condensed striking area. So it would be similar to using a single knuckle fist as opposed to a full fist. So it really depends on your target and your situation. Next part of the foot we're going to cover is the side kick. Side kick uses the bottom of the heel. Side kick can be done in two ways. It could be done into the target, or if the person was on the ground, stomping down. Obviously, depends what you're aiming for. But one thing you don't want to do is hit flat or hit with the toes. Always digging the heel in, digging the heel in. Very important. The next surface area is going to be the back of the heel. The back of the heel has two distinct ways of doing it. One is what we call a hook kick, where the kick comes around. The second way would be if the person was on the ground, kicking down, in what's commonly referred to as an axe kick. Or if you had your partner bent over, we can bring it up and drop the kick down. All right? The next kick is a different kick. It's called the reverse roundhouse kick. Instead of coming across, we're going to take the same foot and turn it backwards, using the ball, twisting in a reverse motion. It's a very sneaky kick, and it's used to get around the person's leg if they're in a different stance. If they have one leg in the front and you're aiming for here, you can shoot around. So whether he's facing you sideways this way or the other way, you can do either the roundhouse or the reverse to get whatever target that you're aiming for. First 4 points we're going to cover work together. They're called the knee points. These points are probably some of the more dangerous points we're going to learn because done properly they will dislocate or break the knee. So always be careful with these, extremely careful, more than any of the other points, because you're not just going to knock somebody down or knock them out, you're going to break their leg in a way that it's unfixable. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have Dusan step forward with one foot. We're going to explain how this works. We're going to find where his kneecap is. We're going to make 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4. So like an X across his knee. Each spot is approximately 1 inch above the knee. On the inside, on the outside, so you could pinch on the bottom and on the other side where you can pinch. The 2 points on the top need to be struck down to buckle his leg. Same thing if I come on the other side, going down. The 2 points underneath get struck upwards to buckle his leg. Now the techniques that we would use for this, switch feet for a second. The first one would be a side kick. If, let's say, he was punching, whatever he was doing, I moved out. Instead of actually kicking the knee, I would kick slightly above onto the spot to buckle his leg. From the opposite side, I would do it the same way. If I moved out this way, I would kick above the spot to buckle his leg. Just from a light tap, you could see how far his leg goes. If I extend my leg and I did it fast, there's a good chance of dislocating his knee there. Now for the bottom points, it needs to be struck in an upward motion. So you could use a front kick coming up from both sides. That is one way. But an easier way is to use what's called a scoop kick, where you just bring the foot up and slap across, which will buckle the leg out. Same thing on the other side, scoop up. So now if he was to grab me and I needed to get out, I could buckle the leg to set up my hand strikes. Generally, we would kick first low to set up our hand strikes up high. Quickest way to end any confrontation is striking the head and neck area. So while the kicks alone can do serious damage, they work a lot better as a setup. So if he's punching and I come in and I take his knee, it's a perfect setup for a follow-up shot or an arm lock or even a throwing technique. So remember, the knee's forward, 4 points, about an inch above the knee, an inch below the knee. The 2 top ones go down, the 2 bottom ones come up. You need to extend your leg. If I only come down a little bit, he only moves a little bit. If I extend all the way, that's what's going to make his leg buckle when I hit it nice and hard. The next 2 points we're going to cover are the inner and outer thigh points, spleen 11 and gallbladder 31. Both of these points could put your opponent to the ground and make his leg move in one direction or the other, depending on how hard you hit. The outer thigh point will give him what's called a dead leg or a Charlie horse, where he won't be able to stand. The inner thigh point will spread his base out, which will make him easier to throw or to follow up with another kick or a different strike. These points are located, if he steps forward, directly in half between his knee and his hip and into the center. Just by pressing it with one finger, it's very sensitive. On the outside, switch your feet for 1 second, it's located in the exact same spot, half, but on the outside, and it needs to be struck a little bit harder. The reason for that is if you feel on your own thigh, the inside is soft compared to the outside. The inside one you can do more damage to with a lighter shot, but the outside one, because of the muscles, once you get through them, it's more sensitive. So the muscles act sort of like armor around the point, but once you get through it, the point itself is actually more sensitive. 2 ways that we strike this, with our foot and with our knee. The knee is the easier way, but you need to be very close for that. So let's say he was to grab me and pull me in close. I would go for the inside thigh point with my knee to his knee. And with a light shot, you could see the amount of off balance that he has. Let's say I wanted to set up an arm lock. Once I was here, I would have the arm lock immediately. Okay? What I can also do is after I strike here, it sets up a perfect groin shot, because there's no way he can move his legs to protect himself. So that's one option. If he has, actually switch again. For the outside of the thigh, if he was throwing a punch, we would come in and strike it. And very light strike buckles his leg a little bit harder, and it's really going to put him down. Set him up for a strike, set him up for a throw. Second way to attack these points is with the foot. Depending on which one you choose will depend on which kick you use. For the outside point, punch with the left again, we would use the side kick and drive through. Again, this is thick muscle. If you came in with a roundhouse kick, you might be able to take it. But if you dig a side kick with the heel in, it's going to get an awesome effect. Now, grab. For the inside, we have a choice. We can either use our roundhouse kick, or we could use a special kick with our heel. So it's sort of like a front kick, but it kicks off to the side, and the heel's the striking point. So when he grabs, we kick, and it buckles his leg out, setting him up for another kick, a strike, or you can see the arm is right there for an arm lock. So no matter how he grabs, whichever foot is in front, grab. If I see this foot in front, that's the side I hit. Put the other foot. If I see the other foot, that's the side that I hit. If he was to punch and he was here, I would hit the outside of the thigh. If he was to step with the left and punch with the right, then I could come into the inside of the thigh with a front kick and buckle it. Something to keep in mind is if you do kick these points, there's a good chance that your opponent will be on the ground. So when you figure in your follow-up techniques, figure that he's going to be on the ground, you're going to have to close real quick and either grapple with him or continue striking and kicking. The next 3 points we're going to cover are on the lower leg, the foot and the calf. The first one we're going to do is we're going to have Dusan take a step forward, and it's located between the last two toes, the pinky toe and I guess the ring toe. You're going to go about an inch up, then you're going to feel a hollow pocket. When you press it, you know that you're on the spot. Now for practice purposes, throw a punch, we're just going to use our toe to make sure that we're on the spot, and it's very painful. Real situation, he's got shoes, he's got whatever, so as he comes in, we would stomp it. If you stomp this point with your heel, there's a very good chance, like 95%, of breaking his foot in that spot. All right, this point can also be used, like bear hug, if he was behind me to help release from the hold. Okay? A lot of people try to stomp on the instep of the foot. The instep of the foot is a very strong bone. It's one of the strongest bones in the human body. So if you get his toes a little bit, he may let go. But if you focus for the corner towards the pinky toe, it's going to be much more effective. All right? The second point, step forward with the right. You're going to find his ankle bone. We place our hand above the ankle bone. Right where the top of your hand is, on the inside of the bone, behind the shin bone, is the point. The point will buckle his ankle and make his knee move to the outside. So when you press it, it buckles. The way we're going to kick this is with the same scoop kick that we use for the inside of his knee. So if he steps forward and grabs, and I see the opening, I'm going to scoop kick with the inside of my heel, and it's a very effective shot. No matter how effective it may look right now, when you have shoes on, it's 10 times as effective because it's very painful. So what you're looking to do is dig the inside of your heel and strike him on the inside of his ankle. Usually, if he's going to grab you, punch you, whatever he's going to do, he's going to take a step. Whichever foot's in the front, that's the one you attack. If he was to step with the other foot, that's the one that you attack. The advantage in this is it's a very quick kick, it's very low, and it's below his line of sight, so he will not see it. Also, you can still use your hands while you do the kick. It doesn't disrupt your balance because you don't have to lean back, you don't have to tilt, anything like that. The third point, just turn, is going to be on the back of the leg. It's the bladder point on the calf. We're going to find the back of his knee. We're going to find the bottom of his calf muscle. Approximately 1/3 of the way up, we're going to find a little hole, and that's where we're pressing. This serves one purpose, and that is to bring him down to the ground. So if he was facing me, let's come on this side, and he punches with the right, I would block using my heel. I would kick into the point to drop him to the ground. A secondary application, grappling position, is if I was throwing him, usually we'll do the throw this way, going between the legs. That's so that I can throw him and not injure him, but if I wanted to hurt him and make it a little more damaging, I would use the heel against here and take him down. Now that was just a tap and he felt it, but if you kick it hard, you're going to disable his leg. He won't be able to do very much, probably not even stand. What we're going to use now is the front kick. We're going to show some targets and some basic self-defense applications for it. The first one that we're going to use is if he extends his arm, if you go all the way to his body and up into his arm, is a point called heart 1. This is a very sensitive point. It's almost in the armpit. When even just squeezing it with your thumb is a little bit painful. Kicking this point, aside from the pain that it will induce, will also dislocate his shoulder. So one way that we get to that point is if he punches, we step out, and with our front kick, preferably with the toes, we kick up into it. We can use the ball of the foot, but the toes will be much more painful. And it sets up perfectly for a follow-up shot. All right, so watch one more time. He punches, step out, straight up into the armpit, front kick. Second application for the front kick is going to go to what's known as the solar plexus, or CV14. Solar plexus is a very sensitive spot in the body because it controls the lungs and the heart function. A lot of different nerves cross into there. The problem is if he's standing straight, just drop your arms, and I throw a kick, I'm going to slide up him. So what I need to do is get him into a bent position. So if he was to choke me, and I could bring him down into this position, I could snap the front kick in either with the ball of the foot or with the toes shooting in. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing his wrists, bringing him down, and kicking. So as he chokes, I grab his wrists, bring him down, and kick. In this particular situation, if his head came down so far, I would bring his head up with my knee and then finish with the kick to the solar plex. So sometimes if you're very strong or do it really excellent, he'll come down a little too far, just straighten him up with the knee, extend the kick out. Third application for the front kick. Push. As we come to the side, we did the leg point that we did before, the front kick can shoot right in. So he comes in, he can push or punch. If he was here, I can go to the outside of the thigh, or I could come up to the ribs in the corner. If he drops his elbow, we have liver 13 right here, and we have 2 more rib points right above it. So anywhere where my palm is sensitive, is a good target. So when he throws his punch, we step out, ball of the foot or toes. If you notice something, watch his body reaction. If I use the ball of the foot, he feels it. If I use the toes, it's a little bit sharper. Of course, I can kick harder with the ball of the foot because I don't have to worry about my toes, but if I had shoes on, that wouldn't matter. So these are some applications for our front kick. We're going to do some applications now for the roundhouse kick. The roundhouse kick, the first point that we're going to use is the side of the waist, the liver 13 point, or the liver gallbladder points in the ribs. So again, that whole corner region where your elbow is, there's so many points there, it's a perfect target. So again, as he either pushes or punches, we step off, and we put the foot in either ball of the foot or the toes, shooting into the spot. So he comes in, move, and kick. Now, we're practicing with punches, but if he was to choke me or grab me, let's say he choked me, I would move off the same way, throw my kick into the same point. Remember also that kicking is, just like everything else, a piece of the puzzle. After I threw my kick, we could set him up for a follow-up. If we wanted to, we could come to the exact same rib point with our knee and strike him again. Or we can throw him, or we can hit him with our hands. We have lots of options at that point. The second spot that we aim for the roundhouse kick is the corner of the jaw. Obviously, if you're not very flexible, you're not a very good kicker, this one would be out for you. But you do have opportunities if, let's say, he was choking and you were able to bring him down a little bit. Now, even if I wasn't a very high kicker, I can get up there. So what I'd like to do, if he pushes, come around, ball of the foot, right underneath the jaw on the stomach 5 point. All right, so one more time, bring him down, boom, right underneath. Excellent shot. Okay. So there's our roundhouse kick. Next kick we're going to do is the reverse roundhouse. Reverse roundhouse is exactly like the roundhouse, but it twists in the opposite direction. So the first point we're going to do is, again, the liver gallbladder points below the chest and the one in the corner of the waist. So we have 3 points we can go for. That gives us a very big surface area. It's always a good spot to aim. Whenever we hit pressure points, we want to try to aim for points where there's more than one in the area. This way, if you're a little off, you have a good chance of hitting at least 1 point. If you focus on a spot where there's only 1 point in the area and you miss, sometimes you're left with nothing. All right, so when he comes in with his punch, we shift to the side and reverse roundhouse across. One more time. Shift, reverse roundhouse. The same kick can be done if he was, let's say, choking. We can make him release with our fingertips and reverse roundhouse to his jaw. So rather than bringing my foot all the way up, I bring his head down so that I could kick in my power level. So he chokes, I spear with my fingers into his belt line, reverse roundhouse to the corner of his jaw. We're going to cover applications for the side kick. Earlier in the program, we covered the leg kicking. Side kick is most useful when it comes to kicking the legs, and that's where you use it 90% of the time. But there are some effective points on the torso that we can strike as well. First one is exactly where his belt is, whether it's his belt, his karate belt, or his button or belt outside. Below his belly button, 3 fingers. There are 3 points in a row. 1, 2, 3. Conception vessel 2, 3, and 4. And they're best struck in a downward motion. So now, if he's in front of me, let's say he's grabbed me, as I strike down, it brings his head forward, setting him up for other techniques, other strikes, other locks. Anytime I can bring his head down, it makes me more powerful. My striking zone with my hands for power is here, straight out, not up. So when I have to raise up high, I'm actually losing power. Same thing with my kicks. If I have to bring my knee up or kick him up high, I'm losing power. So if I could do a technique that brings him down into my zone, my strikes are going to be much more powerful here. And the best way to do that is to drop his center by striking here. So let's say he threw a punch this time. If I blocked, strike down into that spot. A really, really hard shot. Come back up. I'm not going to do it hard, but as I extend, would put him down on the ground in a lot of pain. When you practice it, be careful. This area is very sensitive. And if he has a full bladder, you could have a little mess on your hand. So be a little careful with that. Now, if he's throwing a punch and we move a little off to the side, we have the corner waist point, the liver 13, and the 2 points below his chest, gallbladder 24 and liver 14. From here, the side kick fits into both of those spots. So he throws his punch, we move to the side, and kick. If he was punching with the other hand, ready, come this way a little bit. As he comes in with his left and I move to the side, we have the point behind his elbow, the gallbladder 25 point. So where his elbow is, in front is the liver point, behind is the point that we're looking for now, the gallbladder 25. So he punches, we move out, and we put our heel right into that spot. The advantage of this point, aside from we're striking where the floating ribs are and the kidney is that it moves him backwards. So after I have him here, it's very easy to take him down. All right, so let's show that one more time. So he comes in, we step out, kick, which arches him backwards. Very easy to bring him down from that point. So these are the applications for our side kick. Next kick we're going to use is the hook kick. The hook kick is not a very powerful kick, but because you're using the back of the heel to come around, the back of the heel is one of the hardest bones in the body. So imagine hitting somebody with a hammer. You wouldn't have to hit very hard because the hammer is so solid. Same thing with the hook kick. The main targets for the hook kick would be the head. This becomes a problem because if you can't kick very high, you won't be able to use it. So if I was facing Dusan, I can come up and I can hook him behind his jaw at triple warmer 17. But it would be a lot easier if, let's say he was grabbing me and I brought him down. Now that same point is a lot lower. It's easier for me to put it into there. Stay there for 1 second. The motion would be this, whipping the heel across into that point. Now, same idea, if I brought him down, let's say he punched, if I blocked and I brought him down, we could come to the temple over here or the spot over there, the little cluster. And same idea, shoot across with the hook kick. So primarily the hook kick's going to be for the temple area, behind the jaw. If you wanted to get fancy, for people that are very good kickers, if he punched, you would be able to spin and do the exact same spot. But again, be very careful in practice because even a light shot there will dislocate his jaw and do serious damage behind there. Now that we know what part of the foot to kick with and where to kick, we're going to put these together in some combinations for you to practice. Keep in mind that these are my combinations, things that I like to do. You can put them together any way that you like. Just make sure that you're using the right part of the foot and you're hitting the right part of the opponent's body. First combination is going to be knee to the side and spleen 11 kick. So basically, when we're going to use the spleen 11 point halfway on both sides of his leg. Now how we're going to do this is if he grabs whatever he's doing, I'm going to throw my knee and with the same foot, I'm going to kick to the opposite side. The reason this works so well is that when I bring the knee up for the first kick, it chambers for the side kick to follow. So I don't have to take any extra steps. If I wanted to do something else after I threw the knee, I'd have to put my foot down. Instead of putting my foot down on the floor, I put my foot down on him. So we're here, I throw my knee 1, I throw my kick 2. A good follow-up to this, even though it's not exactly a pressure point strike, is to go 1, 2, right up the middle. Using your shin bone, aim for the groin. Usually we don't strike that as a target because most people turn and move and protect, but when his feet are in this position, there's not very much you can do to defend against it. So it's prime target there. So let's turn a little bit. Let's show it from a different angle one more time. So as we're here, knee strike, actually turn, one more. Ready, knee strike, side, and shoot right up the middle. So that's our first combination. Switch. Second combination, we're going to be using the roundhouse kick. We're going to kick the points in the rib, and then we're going to bring them down with a kick to the back of the calf. So from here, as he throws his punch, we move out of the way. We come up with our kick into his ribs. As we land, we pick up the other foot, and we stomp the back of his calf, bringing him down. So we're going to do it again, then we're going to turn him around and show you the calf stomp in a little more detail. So he comes in, kick, calf stomp, coming down. All right, let's try it from the other side. He comes forward, we throw our kick, we bring the foot up, we stomp either to the back of the calf if we want to just take him down, or to the top knee point if we want to do damage to his knee. In practice, it's better to come to the calf, bring him right down to the mat. So one more time, a little bit quicker. 1, 2. And if possible, I hold the arm always for control. If I want to follow up with a technique or if I just want to hit him again, it's better to keep that control on him. All right, the third combination we're going to do is going to involve 2 knee strikes. One to the liver gallbladder points below the chest, or to the liver point in the side of the waist. That depends on how much he turns. The second point is going to be the gallbladder point on the side of the thigh. So when he comes in with his punch, we're going to deflect. If I was further away, I would throw a kick. This time I was a little bit closer. If I kick him, the range is incorrect. So I'm going to use my knee and come right into those points. So he punches, knee. As soon as I land, I grab him for control. And with my other leg, I knee the side of his thigh. So we're going to do it once again, then we're going to turn him around. We move to the side, knee, control, knee the side of his leg. Let's try it from the other side. Turn this way. Okay, he comes in. We're going to deflect, knee to the ribs, knee strike to the side of the leg. Ready? A little bit quicker. Step out, knee, and knee. And you can see he's perfectly set up for a follow-up immediately. Keep in mind, though, if I did my job right, this knee alone can drop him to the ground unable to breathe. This knee will certainly take the legs out from him. So we practice to do 2, 3, 4, 5 techniques, but the goal is to make one technique work instantly. All right, let's switch back. Next combination we're going to do is a double combination. This is very advanced. This is for the people that are very good at kicking. When he throws his punch, we're going to deflect, and we're going to throw our roundhouse kick towards his belt, to the conception vessel points. The reason I'm doing this is I want him to lean forward a little bit. So once he comes down, I'm going to circle around and kick to the triple warmer point or to the gallbladder 20 point behind his head. All right, so without touching the floor, we're going to deflect, kick 1, kick 2, coming down. This alone should drop him. If it didn't, he's perfectly set up for a follow-up shot. So let's show that from the other side. All right, he throws his punch, I deflect, I bring my first kick to the middle, I shoot around, and I drop down behind the head, gallbladder 20. One more. 1, 2, coming down. All right, and the last combination we're going to do is we're going to go back to his legs, and we're going to do that reverse front kick to knock his leg out. We're going to follow with a reverse roundhouse kick to the rib points. So let's say he grabbed, I would come up, 1 and 2, shooting across. All right, one more time. He grabs, I take my foot, 1 and 2. The reason for the first kick is if he grabs me, he probably wants to punch me. Now I can stop it with my hands, but if I'm quick, I'll stop it with my foot, and now I'll immediately counter with the other foot. All right, let's show this from the other side. So he grabs, he's trying to punch me, I kick 1 and kick 2. So again, the inside of the thigh, the corner of the ribs. The next 2 combinations are what I call intercepting combinations. We're going to use our kick to stop our opponent from reaching us and then immediately follow up. So timing on this one becomes most important. If I was facing Dusan and he came to punch me and I stopped him with my front kick, all right, so let's do that one more time. If I just extended, that stops him, he can't reach me. Immediately, I follow up with the roundhouse kick to the side of the jaw. So let's watch that one more time. He comes forward, let's kick one and kick two. Let's do that from the other side. All right, as he comes in, I see him coming, kick one, kick two, follow up to the corner of the jaw. The opposite of this now is to do the exact same setup, kick one, but instead of coming to this side, hooking around to the gallbladder 20 point. All right, so watch that one more time. He comes forward, kick one, hook around to the gallbladder 20 point. Show it from the other side. All right, he comes around, one, hook around to the gallbladder 20 point. The next combination is very similar, but instead of stopping with a front kick, maybe we're here, we see him approaching, we stop him with a side kick. Soon as we finish the side kick, we rotate and we kick to the solar plexus with our front kick. So I'm facing him in a sideways manner, he approaches, stomp down, and kick up. And he's try from the other side. All right, he comes in, stomp down, and kick up. All right, one more time. All right, make sure you dig the heel in, stomp down, and kick up. Okay? Our next combination, we're going to go back to using our knees. This time, instead of using the knee to the front, as we punch, we're going to use the knee to the back, following a calf stomp, bringing him to the ground. We'll turn him around so we can see that a little more clearly. This punch comes in. Instead of using my right, I rotate, I use my left. He's already in a bent over position, so it's very easy to stomp down on his leg and drop him. All right, one more, a little bit quicker. All right, 1, 2, 3, and let him drop to the ground. The next series of kicks we're going to do after a locking motion, meaning if he's grabbed me and I twist him, where can I kick him? The ribs, the side of the thigh, the kidney points, the gallbladder 20 point. That's one option. If I was to twist him to the inside, I have this side of his body. Now I could kick him to the ribs, to the bladder points, or to the inside of this thigh. Any lock that you do will provide openings. If he's choking me and I finger lock him, now I could kick him to the solar plexus, to the bladder points, or if I wanted to, I could rotate and still kick him across to the side of the jaw. These are our advanced combinations. The next series of kicks we're going to use is once we bring our opponent to the ground, say with a lock or a throw, how to finish our opponent, how to kick him properly. What we want to do is make sure that we control him on the ground first. So let's say we'll start, for the sake of argument, with a wrist lock. We'll bring him down. If I let him stay flat on his back, he can kick me with either foot, and he can punch me with the other hand, and he can pull me over. So what I need to do is roll him onto his side. So let's come back up and try that one more time. Just face me this way. So once I bring him down, we roll him onto his side. We walk up nice and close to him. So now he can't roll back towards me. And if he wants to roll onto his stomach, he can, but it's not so good for him. All right? Ready? One more. All right, so we bring him down. The first strike that we're going to do is a ball of the foot strike or a toe strike to the kidney points in the back. So from here, we're going to strike across. So we're going to do the whole move again. All right, we'll rotate him a little different. Once he's here, ball of the foot to the kidney area. All right, let's just show that one more time. All right, so we're here, ball of the foot to the kidney area. This will also help turn him over onto his side because of the way you're aiming the shot. The second kick that we're going to do is going to be right into the armpit area, to the hot 1 point. So let's say he was choking. We released him, we brought him down. This time, when we stomp, we're not just doing this, we're going up and down. All the way up, all the way down. At the same time, we're pulling on his arm. So we're going to lift up and stomp right down inside the armpit. Follow the line of the arm till you hit his body. So let's show it one time, a little bit quicker. Ready? Down and stomp. Okay? The next kick, we're going to hit either the gallbladder 20 points, which are here, or the bladder 10, which is right next to it. So basically, it's the back of the neck. For this target, we're going to use the top of our foot. Normally we don't strike with this part because it's not very strong. If I threw a really hard kick, I might hurt myself. The way we use this kick is just a short snap to stun him to set up a next move. Let's say I was going to do an arm bar. I want him a little stunned so that he couldn't resist. So as I bring him down, I'm going to take the leg and just quick kick right there. Let's try one more time. Come on this side. All right, we bring him down. From here, nice and quick with the instep, just snap the kick in there. And that would be a perfect setup to go for the arm bar. Let's come back up. Okay, this time he's going to push. We're going to bring him around. Once he's here now, I'm going to find the solar plexus, the conceptual vessel 14 point, and I'm going to use the back of my heel to kick across. All right, so come back up. All right, so he pushes, we bring him over, back of the heel, kick across. All right, one more time. He pushes, bring him over, back of the heel, kick across. Again, be careful with this, very powerful shot. We're aiming right for the solar plexus this way. And the motion would be like that, like an axe kick. Okay. Aside from striking his body, we can also attack the arm that we're holding. So for example, if he was grabbing and we brought him down, from here I can take a step away and strike to the triple warmer 11 point on the back of his arm, 1 inch above his elbow. So as I was here, side kick and follow through, breaking the limb. All right, one more time. So he's here, bring him around, side kick. If I didn't want to use that side kick, I could take the other foot and reverse kick, thrusting across. Pull the arm and strike. Okay, that's how we kick a downed opponent. What we're going to show now is how to use kicks to help enhance the arm bar. The arm bar is the most basic grappling technique. The problem is people know how to resist it. They use a lot of strength. By kicking the pressure points, you'll loosen them up to the point that the arm bar will be very easy to get. So we're going to start off from the mount. We go for the arm bar. For whatever reason, he's a strong guy. He grabs his own hand, and I can't break it. I don't know how to do it. While there are certain grappling methods that teach you how to do it, we can short circuit that by using some strikes. Using our lower leg, the one closest to his knee, we're going to kick to the liver gallbladder points on the side of the waist, striking down here with the back of the heel. As soon as I kick him here, I'll be able to snap back for the arm bar. Other options would be to come to where the solar plexus is, in the center, CV14. Same thing, as I come back, I dig the heel in. Third option would be to come to where the belt knot is, to the bladder points. So if I'm struggling, I'm trying to get the arm bar, kick and release. What I can also do, which would be more damaging, but I lose a little bit of control, is to use the other leg. With this leg, I could kick him behind the jaw in the triple warmer 17 point, to the temple point, or to the points on the neck. The problem with this is if I lift this leg, sit up into me, he's going to roll into me and he might escape. So what I could do is part of a combination, kick to his ribs, loosen him up, kick towards his head, and lay back for the arm bar. Another thing that we can be concerned with is if we don't want to kick him, but we want to release the arms, how do we make him let go? Using our feet, we're going to strike the PC2 point, pericardium 2, at the top of the bicep. And all I'm going to do is use my heel. Instead of pushing, just give a little kick, which you can hear that sound that he made means that it hurt a lot, makes his hand open, and it's very easy for me to fall back for the arm bar. So he grabs his own arm. I'm resisting. It's not working. I don't want to strike him in his face or his body, so I use my heel and I dig. Always remember to use this heel, not this one. If I lift this one, he's going to start his escape and the whole thing will be pointless. Keep his head pinned down tight. Use the heel at the same time you kick, pull, and fall back for the arm bar. We're going to work now from the knee on belly position. Knee on belly position is a very uncomfortable position for the man on the bottom. It can be made more uncomfortable by enhanced by using pressure points. If I have my knee across his body, his abdominal muscles are going to contract. But if I could focus the point of my knee to the solar plexus and just put some weight on there, you can see it's much more effective. I don't even want to stay there because it hurts so much. Other options would be, instead of the solar plexus, to come to the rib point below the chest. So you could see it on him, you see it on me. I just put the point of the knee and dig my weight in. And I'm basically getting to tap just by holding him. By putting pressure on one of these points, as I'm looking for a lock or a hold, it's going to make him think more about the pain than about defending himself. If his elbows are in tight and I can't get to the upper points, I'll go right where the belt knot is, to the conception vessel 2, 3, and 4 points below his belly button. Same idea, I put the knee on and dig the weight in. From here now, it's very easy for me to strike or go for a hold. Let's assume he's a really big guy. I do that, I can't finish him that way. How else can I strike him? I'm going to use the opposite knee, and I'm going to strike to the triple warmer 17 point behind the jaw. So if I have him in position, I'm going to fake like I'm going for some type of a hold and smash with this knee coming across. 1 or 2 shots there will either end the fight or ensure that I can get a lock. So once I have him here, I make like I'm going for a lock. He starts to resist, smash, and then I can easily drop down to cross side, finish him with an arm lock. All right, now we're going to go to the cross-side position. From here, we're going to use the same knee that we used on the knee on stomach, and we're going to catch him behind the head. So what we're going to do is, once we have him locked down, we're going to open up this side by placing the hand over. Once we're here, we're going to extend the leg back and smash into the triple warmer 17 point behind the jaw, or the neck points, large intestine 18. All right, so one more time. I control him so that he can't move. Once I feel that he's stable, I place the hand on the other side of his elbow. If I wanted to strike on the other side of his head, if I wanted to strike him with my elbow, I could. Or I can shoot my left leg into his neck. Sometimes I don't want to do that. I just want to go to the mount position. He's going to try to stop me. So once I get him to here, I'm going to shift and try to step over. He's not going to let me. So I'm going to use my knee and strike the gallbladder 31 point on the side of his leg, which allows me to mount him and stops his resistance. All right, so show that one more time. I go from the cross-side position, I shoot my hip through. My intention is to step over. He's very active with his legs. He's not letting me. I can't step over. I'm going to smash my knee into this point, which is going to allow me to mount him and continue my attack. We're going to work on some striking from the closed guard position. The closed guard is where I start with my legs closed and I'm controlling his upper body. 3 points we're going to focus on, again, is the triple warmer 17 point, the gallbladder 25 point in the back, and the gallbladder 31 point on the side of the thigh. So if I bring him into the guard, all right, one advantage of the guard is I can pretty much hold him still. So what I do is I lock onto his neck. Now while he's fighting to get away, instead of just staying still, I come into the kidney with my shot. And I could just continuously throw these kicks. They're very painful. If for some reason I can't get to that spot or it's not working right, I lower it. And I come to the side of the leg. And you notice his weight just dropped. At that exact moment, that would be my opportunity to reverse him and go for the mount position. So at the moment that I strike his leg and he feels that pain and his balance drops, that's when I twist and roll him over. Now, if he comes back, and I'm controlling his head and he gets away from my head control, push off, I can take the foot and shoot it behind the jaw to the triple warmer 17 point, or behind the head to the gallbladder 20 point. So ideally, I'd like to keep his head down and just pound him. But if he pushes away to try to escape, boom, I can shoot down with the heel as well. Second step is called the open guard. He either stands up or he breaks my guard open. So just break it open. I open the feet and I try to control his biceps. So keep moving. As he's moving around, I open up a lot of opportunities. All of my strikes, rotate a little bit, I can strike with the heel into the stomach 9 point next to his Adam's apple, right to this spot here. Right? Shoot that kick in there. We can kick into his ribs. We can also do some sweeps using pressure points. I can hook the foot here and hit the spleen 11 point on the inside of his thigh. And as I make contact, I pull and push, bringing him right down, for my advantage. So let's try that one more time. I have him in the open guard. He's looking to get around, to pass. If he starts to walk that way, I hook his foot and I sweep him. Once I'm in this position, we can kick straight into his groin area, or we can hit the spleen 11 point again to give him a little bit more pain. Once he comes up, I could shoot in with a shot to the ribs, to the gallbladder 14, and the liver 14, gallbladder 24 points. So let's do that sequence one more time. All right. He starts to stand. I control. He starts passing, which means he wants to get around my legs. I hook and I press. Once he's here, I need him to come to me. I kick. He comes up. I drive into his ribs. And from here, I would advance on him to the mount or to a better position for myself. Hey, I hope everybody enjoyed this video on pressure points for kicking. In order to use kicking effectively for pressure points, you need to be good at kicking, of course. So the basics are most important. Make sure your kicks are down pat, good stamina, good leg flexibility. When you're working with a partner, you have to be extra careful with kicking because you don't have the same type of control that you do when you're using hand strikes. Pressure point training can be safe, but if done incorrectly, it can be dangerous. So we always recommend that you train under supervision, under qualified personnel. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to find an instructor in your area, or you'd like to come see me, please give me a call or email me. My contact information will be at the end of this program. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed viewing.
Wow.